All blank balls to you.
Oh, yeah, no, she has. Okay. Well, first line is actually, you can just do arrows.
I now call to order the regular session meeting of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Tarpon Springs on Tuesday, April 7, 2015 at 6:31. Roll call.
Mayor Archie?
Here.
Vice Mayor Larson?
Here.
Commissioner Tarpani?
Here.
Commissioner Banther?
Here.
Commissioner Sieber.
Here.
Tonight's invocation will be given by Reverend Ken Vineyard of Family of Faith Church. Will everyone stand? Please remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance following.
Let us pray. Heavenly Father, your word declares that the eyes of the Lord watch over those who do right. His ears are open to their cries for help. But the Lord turns his face against those who do evil. He will erase their memory from the earth. The Lord hears his people when they call to him. He rescues them from all of their troubles. So Lord, I pray that from your glorious unlimited resources that you will empower and strengthen your servants this day. We know that you are the source of all our blessings and that you are our strength. Lord, you know our lives are filled with severe challenges on every front. So I ask you tonight to bless and strengthen Mayor Archie and the Tarpon City Council members as they serve your people this day. I ask you to give our leaders the strength, the wisdom, the knowledge to make prudent decisions. Holy Spirit, guide us during these discussions and give them wisdom concerning the issues we face. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We will now go to public comments on any item that will not be discussed this evening. Seeing none, I'd just like to announce that items 20, 21, 22, and 23 are deferred to our April 21st regular session meeting. So anybody that's for those items there, 20, 21, 22, and 23 are being deferred to April 21st. With that, we'll go to proclamations. First one is Water Conservation Month. This proclamation reads, whereas water is a basic and essential need of every living creature, and whereas the state of Florida Water Management District and the city of Tarpon Springs are working together to increase awareness about the importance of water conservation, and whereas the city of Tarpon Springs and the state of Florida has designated April, typically a dry month when water demands are most acute, Florida Water Conservation Month, to educate citizens about how they can help save Florida's precious water resources. Whereas the city of Tarpon Springs has always encouraged and supported water conservation through various educational programs and special events, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can make a difference when it comes to conserving water, and whereas every business, industry, school, and citizen can help by saving water, thus promote a healthy economy and community. Now, therefore, I, David Archie, by virtue of authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Tarpon Springs, Florida, do hereby proclaim Water Conservation Month and call upon each citizen and business in the city of Tarpon Springs to help our precious resource by practicing water-saving measures and becoming more aware of the need to save water. And Ms. Estella Gray couldn't make it. We also have a proclamation for Donate Life Month. I'm not going to read that. That's going to be Male and Child Abuse Month. We have a proclamation too, and it's going to be male, but we have proclamation 4 see, is National Library Week. If I can find that one. We will read it and give it to our librarian. This proclamation reads, City of Tarpon Springs, Florida, whereas libraries create potential and possibilities within communities, campuses, and schools, and whereas libraries level the playing field for all who seek information and access to technologies, whereas libraries continuously grow and evolve in how they provide for the needs of every member of their communities, and whereas libraries and librarians open up a world of possibilities through innovative STEAM programming, maker spaces, job-seeking resources, and the power of reading. Whereas librarians are trained, tech-savvy professionals providing technology training and access to downloadable content like ebooks, and whereas librarians support democracy and affect social change through their commitment to provide equitable access to information for all library users, regardless of race, ethnicity, creed, ability, sexual orientation, gender identity, or socioeconomic status. Whereas libraries, librarians, library workers, and supporters across America are celebrating National Library Week. Now, therefore, I, David R. Archie, by virtue of authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Tarpon Springs, do hereby proclaim the week of April 12th through the 18th, 2015 as National Library Week, and I encourage all residents to visit the library this week to take advantage of the wonderful library resources available at our library, unlimited possibilities at your library. And Ms. Calvin, want to say something? All right.
I would like to thank the mayor and the Board of Commissioners for this proclamation, and to let you know that this year for National Library Week, we're having an online scavenger hunt with prizes sponsored by the Friends of the Library. This is to highlight the many electronic resources we have available to our public, including ebooks, downloadable music, downloadable videos, and online databases for business, employment, genealogy, automotive repair, and language learning. So I encourage everybody to come by the library. We're also having a class on our electronic resources on Thursday the 16th at 3 p.m. So we hope everybody comes by and enjoys the library. Thank you.
Thank you. Any public comments on any of these items? We go then to presentation, one that we look forward to every year, and that's item number 5, Library Advisory Board Annual Report. Mr. Grantham.
I am Bill Grantham, chairman of this library board. I reside at number 84 Stonehenge, which is at 39820 US 19 North here in Tarpon Springs. I gave this report for many years, but last year we got Peggy Protis to do it, and she did such an excellent job, we thought we'd get her to do it again this year. We have two main functions. One is to be a sounding board for carry for changes and procedures in the library, and we're very proud to do that. Our other obligation is to report to the City Commission every year the state of affairs at the library, and that's what we're here to do this evening. And I will let Ms. Protis now tell you the story. Peggy.
Good evening. Kirk Douglas once said, "My mother and my father were illiterate immigrants from Russia. When I was a child, they were constantly amazed that I could go to a building and take a book on any subject. They couldn't believe this access to knowledge we have here in America. They couldn't believe it was free." The Tarpon Springs Library mission is to provide excellent services to fulfill the needs of all of its users, to enhance their quality of life, and to be a focal part in the community. The library serves the community both from the inside and from the outside of its facility. As you know, people visit the library for many reasons, not just for the books, for the information, for the fiction, for the classes, for the computers that are there, and for all the help that the volunteers and the staff give them. There are library activities every day, and there are people throughout in the library every day. Last year, we had 198,900 people visited the Tarpon Springs Library, which is pretty amazing when you think about it. Library staff help adults to work on their resumes, to apply for jobs, to learn how to work the computers. The teenagers come in to use the computers, and they also volunteer. Some of the teenagers also volunteer to help some of the older people understand the computers. Young people are brought in, small young people, so that they can hear for the story time and to check out books and to learn the importance of books. Outside the library, people are able to download the ebooks, information, audiobooks, music, and streaming, and they can stream video from their homes or office. People have access to online databases through the library and for a myriad of different activities that they might want to do, including research and vocation. The library partners with other city departments and with other departments and with other organizations throughout Tarpon Springs to bring programs that will enrich people's lives. An important part of the library is our partnership with the Friends of the Library. The Friends of the Library celebrated 50 years last year of helping the library. They also provided approximately $50,000 to the library. About $14,000 of that was from books that they actually sold in the library. The library is going to be partnering with Rotary in the coming year and with the Friends of Library for a program at the Tarpon Springs Middle School so that the students can learn how to interview and to interview older residents and be able to keep information about the way Tarpon was in the past. And this is going to be a community program that's going to be generated and partnered with many other organizations and people throughout the community. More than 650 people visit the library every day, and more than 900 physical items are checked out every day. Thank you very much. I'll be glad to answer any questions that you have.
First, I'd just say that we definitely appreciate all that you and the advisory board do in terms of helping us to have one of the best libraries, I believe, around, and we appreciate the annual report that continuously let us know what a great job that's being done at the library. So I just say to you, thank you, and to all of the board, thank you for your efforts. You know.
I think for all of us, it's an act of love. Love of books.
Anyone have any additional questions?
Thank you.
I just also want to thank you. And those numbers are quite impressive, your fiscal year numbers.
Thank you very much for listening to us.
Thank you. Any public comments on this item? Well, the next thing that we have on our agenda is item number 6, and that's the Tarpon Springs High School basketball program. We've had the opportunity to do a lot of things for individuals that have accomplished some things within the school system, both academically, athletically, artistically, and doing some things for the band. And This year, we collectively wanted to recognize our basketball team. We feel like we had the best team in the state. We didn't win it all, but I think that, the basketball team and Coach Woodker did a fabulous job, and we have a couple of things to let you know that the city of Tarpon Springs really appreciate our young people, and it's another opportunity for us to encourage them when they're doing well. We hear a lot of things about individuals and youth when they're not doing good things, and when you're doing good things, especially at Tarpon High, it brings great publicity to the city of Tarpon Springs. And we have two things that we want to do. One is the Achievement Award, and this reads, presented to Tarpon Springs High School boys basketball team in recognition of outstanding achievements, district champions 2014, 2015, boys regional champions 2015, and state semifinals 2015. And we know this was the best year that Tarpon has had as far as basketball is concerned, but in everything you need to have a leader, and we'd like to recognize Coach Woodker as far as the Certificate of Excellence. This reads, the Board of Commissioners of the City of Tarpon Springs, Florida, acknowledges with appreciation the exceptional contribution, talent, and dedication of Jerome Woodker, Pinellas County Boys Basketball Coach of the year 2013-2014, Tarpon Springs High School, for your outstanding leadership and exceptional commitment to teamwork. In witness whereof, this certificate is presented by the direction of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Tarpon Springs, Florida, on this, the 7th day of April 2015. And we'd like for him to come forward, that the boys would come forward too and get this. I know some of y'all are going to be on TV in the big cast. Say something if you'd like to. I don't know who wants to receive this. Are you the mayor?
You guys can stay up there if you don't mind. Good evening, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank Mayor Archie and the city for recognizing my student athletes. Before I can go into bragging about my kids, I've got to thank my parents. Without them, the success that these kids have had the past few years and the academic achievements they're gaining would not be possible. So parents, thank you so much for all of that. Now, if you bear with me, I love bragging about these kids, so kind of hang on. This group of student athletes, 32 wins and 2 losses this season. Greatest in the 114-year history. Phenomenal. Phenomenal. 6 seniors that are moving on, hopefully all attending school, some of them playing basketball as well. And the bar set pretty high for the next group. We have 6 juniors, 1 sophomore and 1 freshman that are going to be moving up, and hopefully they can carry on with the tradition these kids have done. These group of student athletes rewrote 23 school records this year, whether it was a team record or an individual record. And some of those records, it may take another 114 years to rewrite those records as well. Kids, some of you have been in the program 4 years. The things you've accomplished have been phenomenal. And as I was telling some of the other students in my classes today, I don't think they'll ever be broken. I don't think we'll ever have a group of kids like this. So we want to thank everybody. Mayor Archie, you came to my banquet last year. You've seen what these kids mean to me. You've seen what they mean to our school and our program. And from the bottom of our hearts, we all thank you very much. Thank you.
I mean, this is your time now.
Nice work. Thank you. Nice work. Thank you.
Any commission comments on this? Any public comments? Thank you. Next, we go to something that I guess is kind of near and dear to me, and it goes along with what we looked at just did, and that was the Mayor's Fitness Challenge Award. It was an opportunity for collectively the city to look at how do we get residents, especially, and individuals involved in doing a little bit more to take care of ourselves. And some people asked me initially, was it a challenge for me to lose weight and the rest of it, but it really wasn't. It's for every individual to challenge themselves on whatever their goal might be. Mine was a little different than others, but I think that it was successful. We'll have Craig and Ashley come up and talk a little bit about what happened. We have some awards. We wanted to show some appreciation for the sponsors who made it possible. And I say again is that some people say, why do you do this and the rest of that? But to me, it's about the quality of life, and I want to let everybody know that this was not city money, was not taxpayers' money going towards this. This was money that the business community decided that this was an effort that they really wanted to participate in to try to promote health and wellness. And I think that it was very, very successful, especially for the first time that we've done something like this. So, Craig, I don't know if you take it over or you let the real worker, actually, we appreciate what she's done.
I could let you talk all night, so that's wonderful. When we started this goal of ours, we wanted 100 participants. And, well, lo and behold, first night, we ended up with 267. So we were a little taken back. We weren't ready for it, but we were very excited. The mayor was gung-ho. And truly, we could not have done it without our sponsors. Without them, none of it would have been possible. So that's a very big blessing on our part that our community wanted to support such a wonderful activity. Throughout the 10 weeks, all the gyms hosted different activities at their facilities. We had boot camps out at Craig Park. We partnered with the Florida Youth Wildlife Conservation, which donated 16 kayaks to us for the term of the 10 weeks, which allowed us to offer kayaking out at Craig Park. And we averaged about 10 a week. For about 5 weeks, we did it every other week. So it introduced people to kayaking who never did it. We did it out at Craig Park, which was fantastic. So that went really well. We did a halfway point walk with the mayor, where we had about 35 participants come out on a nice chilly morning. So that was really good. Total Fitness led the stretching for that day to make sure everyone was warmed up before they pulled a muscle or if the mayor hurt himself walking. That was up and down the trail, so that was always good. And then we finished off the 10 weeks with a 5K run-walk challenge, which was fantastic. Out of the 267 participants, we had about 40 weigh out. So we got 10%. Wasn't the goal that my team and I were shooting for, but it was better than 0. And to see 40 people continue and want to weigh out and see where they were at the end is always a plus. For the 5K run walk, we ended up with 70 people doing it. So that was extremely positive for us to end it on such a good note. And for that, I want to acknowledge our sponsors. Our 2 large sponsors who really helped put this on is Florida Hospital North Pinellas and PT Solutions. Without their donations, this would not have been, it wouldn't have happened. So if Christine Longley could come up from Florida Hospital North Pinellas to recognize them for their wonderful support. Thank you, Christine. And if Donna Corus would come up from PT Solutions.
All right, and now for our business sponsors. We had Anytime Fitness, Miss Holly Winheim, if she could come up. I hope I got the last name right. We had Sarah Edwards from Snap Fitness. Thank you. And from Total Fitness, Celia Dubé. Thank you. We had Factless Department Store, Vasilius Factless. Thank you. And Unbenhagen Advisors, Tracy Len Robinson. Throughout the challenge, we asked the participants to do as much as they can and then track their weight. We had 2 outstanding participants this year. First off, we had Corinne Lehman, who lost over 20 pounds. If she could come up, she was our winner. I do have the check. There you go. Thank you. And Mr. Carl Hobbs, who lost over 60 pounds throughout the 10 weeks.
Shaved it off.
And for them doing so well, and because of our sponsors, we were each able to give them $250 each for winning. So it was fantastic for the most weight loss. Hopefully you all will want to do it next year and come out and support it. It was a fantastic program. So I thank the board, I thank the community, and my team. If I didn't have them, well, they did a lot of the work. So I can't take a lot of the credit because they did most of the legwork for me. So I thank everyone. So have a great night.
You know, I also want to mention that we used part of the money that we had to come in to do some things for the employees who are in the Weight Watchers to help to defray their costs. We put some of the dollars that had came in through this towards them being able to continue their efforts for its wellness. I had the opportunity to go to some of the elementary schools, Tarpon, L and Sunset Hill PE class to show the little people that I could hang with them. But we also wanted to show them that we appreciate them. Usually people adopt the classes and the classrooms, but nobody think about PE. So we use some of the money to adopt the PE class at Tarpon, L and Sunset Hill, just trying to let them know that, you know, wellness is very, very important, and to keep moving and doing those type of things. But I'd like to really thank Craig and Ashley for all that they did, and especially Karen Lemons, who couldn't be with us here tonight, but those were the individuals that drove this project, something that we've never done before. And if you've ever undertaken anything, when you haven't done it before, it's a little scary along the way, but I think it turned out very, very well. And it's because of the employees that we have here at the city. It shows once again, you know, that we have excellent employees who are very versatile in doing whatever they're called upon to do. And to me, this was a fun endeavor. Many people have said that they appreciate it. Some are talking about how do we continue, and some are looking forward to next year. I think, you know, if they say the Lord's willing, I'm still around next year at this time, that we'll still be trying to do this as an annual thing. So I just want to tell those individuals that I appreciate their efforts, and I think that everybody that participated in this appreciated their efforts. So with that, any public comments? Yeah. On this item? On this item? What I'm saying, Mr. Paul, is that are you going to talk about the fitness challenge? We've already had public comments that was open to anyone. This is just about the fitness challenge. And I... Yes, sir. That's what I'm saying.
Is there another opening for me?
Not tonight, unless there's a subject on the agenda tonight.
You know, Mr. Mayor Archie, let me tell you something, and I'm going to say this before I leave. I come here tonight for one reason, to address you and the police chief.
Well, what I'd say to you right now, Mr. Paul, is that you know you've been here before. If I might, you understand as far as where I'm sitting and the chair. There's opportunities for you to speak. If you want to talk to the chief or myself, and you want to do it, or, excuse me, sir, if you want to do it publicly, you will have to wait until the next meeting. All right? All right, then. You know how to get me, so we don't have to deal with that. But if there's no other public comments on this item, then we'll move to our next item. Thank you. We now move to our consent agenda, and that's minutes March 3rd, regular session, March 17th, regular session, satisfaction and release of liens, attorney fees, Trash Mass Daniel LLP invoice number 48202, Thomas Sizemore Gonzalez and Hearing LLP invoice number 79164, special events Beach to Bayou 5K Run Walk, Helen Ellis Foundation, May 31st. Approve additional services authorization number 1 for RFQ number 14002, 8SJJ, professional engineering services for reclaimed water tank and pump station design. 12 is extend file number 140036-C-DM Microsoft license maintenance and services through the state of Florida contract number 252-001-09-1. 14 award bid number 150020-B-CM sidewalks, new and replacements. Any item anyone would like to pull? Chair will entertain a motion.
Move for approval. Second.
Any public comments on these items?
Good evening. I'm Estella Gray with the Southwest Florida Water Management District, and item 12 is a cooperatively funded project, and I just thought I'd take the opportunity to speak to the mayor and commission. One, on Water Conservation Month that I missed. I showed up about 2 minutes late for the presentation, and that's because Tampa Bay traffic is kind of similar to the Florida legislature. You don't know which way it's going to go. And I spent about 1 hour and 45 minutes in traffic, so I do apologize. And I just wanted to take the moment to thank you all. We are in an abnormally wetter season than normal. And April is not as dry as it normally is, but you all took the time anyway to present and adopt a Water Conservation Month proclamation. At the district, we make that important. We drive as far as we can to every proclamation presentation because we really appreciate it. And we also appreciate working closely with your staff and public services. Paul and Bob, the way I like to describe your department is collaborative and transparent. We meet with them monthly on a lot of projects related to cooperative funding, and the transparency and the collaborative nature of Tarpon Springs makes my job easier. So just want to take this moment to thank you all and thank your staff. Have a great week.
Well, I just thank you and the district for all that you've done in terms of helping us, not only with the Conservation Month and conserving water, but the other efforts as far as your dollars helping us to do things that we wouldn't ordinarily have the funds to do. So tell everyone that we definitely appreciate it.
Oh, no, there's a difference. We have a lot of cities and counties in the area, and there's a difference in Tarpon Springs, and we really appreciate it.
Well, thank you. There are no other public comments. Roll call.
Commissioner Sieber,
Yes.
Commissioner Banther?
Yes.
Commissioner Terrapini?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Larson?
Yes.
Mayor Archie?
Yes. The next item we have is special consent, item number 15, select Wanamaker Jensen Architects for RFQ number 150001-S-JJ, design of new fire station.
Thank you, Mayor. As you know, is obvious, this pertains to the design of new fire station, Station 71. We had 13 firms that were ranked by an evaluation committee based on qualifications. They shortlisted it to 3. We are recommending that you select Wanamaker Jensen Architects in an amount not to exceed $298,330 for the design of a new fire station.
Any questions for staff? Commissioner?
I was just wondering what the time frame is for construction.
We have Deputy Chief Young or our Purchasing Administrator, Jay Jackus, in the audience, who will probably answer that.
Actually, this contract is for the design phase. Once that's completed, we'll have a better idea of how long construction will take.
Any public comments on this item? Vice Mayor?
Thank you. No, I'm just curious. I'm concerned about the cost of the design phase, and I'm wondering if I get some insight from other jurisdictions and what the design phase cost for other fire stations. Thank you.
You want to
I was hoping somebody
Mr.
could
Jacobs?
respond.
Yeah. Mr. Jackus? Okay.
Good evening, Bob Robertson, Public Services Program Manager. I was assisting the fire department in negotiation of this contract, and the estimated construction cost of this is about $2.5 million. Typically, what you're looking for is something in the range between 10 to 20% of the construction cost is your design costs. So at roughly $300,000, this is in that range. The numbers for the level of service we're getting and a quality of designer really made good sense relative to the overall cost of the project. I don't have a comparison for you for other designs, though. That's not something we looked at, but that typical rule of thumb is something that I would use to evaluate the cost.
I guess what I'm curious about is when we look at this fire station, is it similar to other jurisdictions within Pinellas County or Hillsborough County or other counties? And if so, were we able to piggyback off of their design plan?
I think what we will use and have used in similar situations, but we will be using the similar designs from many of the stations that Wanamaker Jensen has done that they presented to us. It was one of the reasons we selected them, is because they have a vast pool of experience designing very similar fire stations. I think we are able to take advantage of that in the cost that you see there at just barely, what is that, just about 12% of the construction cost. So I think we are seeing
The cost is $290,000.
I'm sorry, the estimated construction cost being about $2.5 million. So am I confusing it, or?
No, you're about right.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay.
No, it's a really big figure, is my point.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
To add to that, state statute doesn't allow for piggybacking on consulting contracts.
Something else, I think everybody's
I guess my question was answered.
You want to gather some further information, Vice Mayor? in terms of.
Go ahead, Commissioner. Do
No,
you have
no,
a-
I mean, moving forward, if you want to, I mean, I understand your concern. It's certainly a large figure. I mean, for something that in theory could have already been produced in terms of plans. I mean, if you want to take a minute to defer, I would support that.
I don't have any particular questions, but if you do, I would support them, Commissioner.
I could add a little bit more to what Mr. Jackus was talking about. He's talking about the statute, the CCNA statute, Competitive Consultants Negotiating Act. We aren't allowed to go out and get cookie cutter design plans and lay them on, and put them out to bid and build something. We have to have, everything has to be designed and signed and sealed by an architect and an engineer, because every place, every site condition is unique. Even though we may be building the same structure as the one in Dunedin, for example, we still got to permit it, we still got to get it signed and sealed, and the engineer and architect has to be held to that design standard. Statute doesn't, like Jay said, statute doesn't allow us to just take one off the shelf and put it out to bid. We have to do our own.
So, Mr. Robertson, this is standard practice for
Yes,
a
sir.
project of this scope, correct?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate your clarity on that.
Any public comments?
Tim Kafalis, 205 Leafwood Road. I really hadn't planned on talking tonight, but I recall back when we were first discussing this, and I was very much in favor of the fire department out there because of the contract with the county to supply fire department out there. There was discussion of one being similar to Pasco County's that was just being built at the time that was $500,000. And I'd just like to, I think, as Mr. Larson, Commissioner Larson has said, that all of a sudden I see it as jumping from $500,000 to $2.5 million when we were told, when this was during the linger longer issue and how the money could have been used there instead. If you check the minutes from back then, we were told that it would be about $500,000 to build a fire station out there that was similar to one that was just being built in Pasco County. Thank you.
Thank you. Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second, whichever one you want to do.
Roll call.
Commissioner Sieber,
Yes.
Commissioner Banther?
Yes.
Commissioner Terrapini?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Larson?
Yes.
Mayor Archie?
Yes. Item number 16, award file number 150098-C-CM roofing supplies and services, waterproofing, and related products and services through the U.S. Communities Purchasing Alliance, Master Agreement number 14-5903.
Thank you, Mayor. As you can see in the backup, request for proposal was done. We had several companies that bid on the project. Again, these are for various projects concerning public works, police buildings. That's the old police department that they're renovating, and other various projects. Allied Roofing, we're recommending at $208,000. You can see where some of the other bids came in. They're substantially higher.
Any questions for staff? Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any public comments on this item? Roll call.
Commissioner Sieber,
Yes.
Commissioner Banther?
Yes.
Commissioner Terrapini?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Larson?
Yes.
Mayor Archie?
Yes. Item number 17, award bid number 150077-B-JJ sponge dock improvement.
Well, thank you, Mayor. I'm on a roll now.
I
aren't
guess you are.
Again, this is for repaving, resurfacing Dodecanese Boulevard, portions of Athens Street. I believe we went out on Demand Star. Some 502 firms were reached. There was a bidding process done, and at this point, we're recommending awarding the bid Phase 2 to St. Augustine Construction, amount not to exceed $316,784.33.
Any questions for staff, Commissioner?
Thank you.
Tarpon and Seaver.
Mr. Jacks, I have a question for you. My question is, Have we ever done, I see where we're offering a incentive for the project to be completed prior to the due date. Is that something that we've done in the past?
Not here.
Not here in terms of.
Not in Tarpon Springs, that's correct.
It's a great idea. I mean,
I've utilized it in other places, but not here.
Yeah, no, I mean, especially in this project.
Exactly.
In the sponge dock.
Exactly.
With the season, you know, in this time-sensitive nature, I think that it's a great idea. I like that you put a cap on it, not to
At
exceed.
15,000.
Yeah, not to exceed the 15,000. But I just wanted to note that, and I think that that's a great incentive, especially in a time-sensitive area of the city. So, good practice.
Thank you.
Again, major consideration was taken into the season, so we
Sure.
hope to be done before July.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Well, that's a great idea, because we do have some events scheduled, and I was a little concerned about that, especially with Hippie Fest on
Right.
August 15th. My other question was, I see that on Athens, we're only going to Cross Street. Did we not consider, and there are quite a few businesses beyond Cross, like all the way to National Bakery, that have expressed some concern why we're not continuing on up to at least maybe Mill Street?
To be quite honest with you, I'm not involved in the planning of the project. I administer the bid process, so I really can't speak to that question.
Okay. Who would be the person to,
Tom Function, he's on vacation.
all right, thank you.
If I might, if we can just ask Mr. Function, you know, to
Yes.
respond to that, they can do it, email, whatever. If there are no other questions, the chair will entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Any public comments on this item? Roll call.
Commissioner Sieber,
Yes.
Commissioner Banther?
Yes.
Commissioner Terrapini?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Larson?
Yes.
Mayor Archie?
Yes. Ordinance and resolution, item number 18, ordinance 2015-10, application 15-10, vacation of right-of-way, Tallahassee Drive, first read. This is quasi-judicial.
Ordinance number 2015-10, an ordinance of the City of Tarpon Springs, Florida, vacating and abandoning right-of-way for an approximately 7,380 square foot portion of Tallahassee Drive adjacent to Florida Avenue, providing for conditions, providing for findings, providing for future easement, providing for recordation in the public records of Pinellas County, and providing for an effective date. This item is quasi-judicial. This is the first reading. The second reading will be held on April 21st, 2015 in these chambers. Would you like me to read the quasi-judicial announcement? Okay. This is a quasi-judicial proceeding where the commission acts as a quasi-judicial board. At a quasi-judicial hearing, it is not the commission's function to make law, but rather to apply law that has already been established. In a quasi-judicial hearing, the commission is required by law to make findings of fact based upon the evidence presented at the hearing and apply those findings of fact to previously established criteria contained in the Code of Ordinances in order to make a legal decision regarding the application before it. The commission may only consider evidence at this hearing that the law considers competent, substantial, and relevant to the issues. If the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates that the applicant has met the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the commission is required by law to find in favor of the applicant. By the same token, if the competent, substantial, and relevant evidence at the hearing demonstrates that the applicant has failed to meet the criteria established in the Code of Ordinances, then the commission is required by law to find against the applicant. There is an established procedure which will be followed at this quasi-judicial hearing. All witnesses must give their testimony under oath. All persons testifying at this hearing must give their name and address for the record. All testimony and questioning at this hearing must address matters that are relevant and material to the issues under consideration. The city will present its testimony and evidence first. The applicant may cross-examine the city's witnesses. The applicant will then present its testimony and evidence. The city may cross-examine the applicant's witnesses. If necessary, the city will then have an opportunity to present rebuttal evidence for witnesses. Such rebuttal evidence may only address new issues by the applicant during the applicant's case. Members of the public opposing the application will be given an opportunity to present testimony. After all members of the public speaking in opposition to the application have concluded, members of the public in support of the application will have an opportunity to present testimony. Each member of the public is limited to 4 minutes of testimony. The applicant will then have an opportunity to make a closing argument or summary, after which the city will be given an opportunity to make a closing argument or summary. Following this, members of the commission may ask questions of witnesses, a motion will be made, and a vote will be taken.
Thank you. Staff got the report?
Can we swear in the witnesses first? And if anybody is going to be speaking on this matter, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you promise to tell the truth and nothing but the truth on the matters before the City Commission of the City of Tarpon Springs this evening?
I do.
All right, thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Commission members, Steve Correcchia, Planning and Zoning. This is a request to vacate a portion of Tallahassee Drive adjacent to Florida Avenue within the Sunset Hills subdivision. The right-of-way to be vacated is approximately 7,400 square feet and is undeveloped. Standards for review of a vacation are found in Section 216.01 of the Land Development Code. As part of our analysis, staff did review those standards, and we find that the requested right-of-way for vacation is not needed for either existing or future utility purposes of the city or other utility providers in the area. We find that the right-of-way is not the sole means of access for any of the adjoining properties. We find that the right-of-way is not needed to implement any of the circulation plans of the city, and we find that the right-of-way does not provide usable access or shoreline vistas for the neighborhood. Notice of this application was mailed to surrounding property owners. Notice will also be posted in the Tampa Bay Times on April 10th prior to the Commission's second reading to be held on April 21st. Staff did receive several public inquiries on this request. Most did not have any objection to the request for vacation. However, staff did receive 2 inquiries in opposition. One of those inquiries, the applicant or the resident requested the Tallahassee Drive be improved and extended to Florida Avenue. The other inquiry in opposition requested that the right-of-way not be vacated and remain undeveloped. Given our staff analysis, again, presented in the staff report and presented tonight, we do find that the request does meet the approval criteria established in Section 216.01 of the Land Development Code, and we are recommending approval of the vacation request. Mr. Mayor, that concludes my presentation. Staff will be available for any questions.
Thank you. Applicant has any comments?
I don't think that's the applicant.
Oh, all right. The applicant's not here today?
Doesn't look like it.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Mayor, I do not see him, so
So it's on you, I mean,
You can move on to public comment. Technically, the applicant does not have to be present, but then they forfeit the opportunity to present any of their arguments, essentially, or any evidence. So you can only proceed basically on what's in the staff report.
any public comments?
Can you please, when you start, state your name, your address, and indicate that you've been sworn?
My name is Sherry Farrell. I'm the homeowner of 115 North Florida Avenue, and I have been sworn in. My opposition to this particular ordinance is, for one, I live right smack in the middle of this right-of-way and probably the busiest intersection west of alternate 19. I myself went to the Planning and Zoning Committee to find out, or the department to find out what study this is all based on. And from what I understand, this information from this study is more than 20 years old. I said it takes me 3 to 4 minutes to back out of my driveway in the morning. I've seen a few accidents, not a lot of accidents at Florida and Gulf, but I sit and watch crossing guards daily put cones out. They're on all the corners. It is a very busy intersection. Orlinda and Tallahassee both are closed. There's no access through to Gulf or to any of those neighborhoods behind me. However, 3 blocks up, right before the middle school, Poinsettia is open. Seems a nice, quiet street. People can have, throughways through there. I would really like to see some consideration giving to some recent studies, traffic studies, before something like this were implemented. Thank you.
Any other public comments? If you have a comment, you need to come to the podium. I'm not sure if you've been sworn in or not. If you haven't, then you need to be sworn in.
My name is Brenda Chase, and I live at 1505 Oleander.
Okay, please raise your right hand.
Oh, sorry.
Do you promise to tell the truth on the matters before the City Commission for the City of Tarpon Springs this evening?
Yes.
Thank you.
I just really have a comment. I thought this was not to do a right-of-way through, but to build a house on the property. Was I misinformed?
I can't tell you anything about a house. We don't have anything before us about
Well, I
a
called the
house.
planning department.
I'll
That's
ask
what I was
staff
wondering.
at some point in time.
So, I mean,
to speak to that. We're talking about vacating the right of way.
making a street versus putting a house on it is a night and day difference in that neighborhood. We have the high school right there. If a street, any of those 3 streets ever got opened, and we went through this about 17 years ago with a major influx of people that came in here, with that high school, it would be accidents daily, I would say, with the way those kids come out of that school and would use it as a cutoff from that. So that was told us 17 years ago, that they would never make streets there. So I don't know, she sounded like it was going to be a street coming through, and if it's not a street coming through, that's one thing. If it's a house being put there, that's another issue. That's why that's why I come up to speak.
Mayor, commission members, the applicant submitted this application. He owns the property to the north of this. With this vacation request, this property would then be, his intent would be to combine that with his existing property. He would have potentially enough land area and street frontage along Florida to create 2 residential lots in this R100 zone. So ultimately, that is his plan, to place 2 single-family homes along Florida Avenue. And one of those homes, the yard would basically be this right-of-way that was vacated.
Just while you're there, there's no plans to open that up as far as the street up. That's not what this is about.
No, sir, this is a request to vacate the right-of-way.
Legally, a vacation is where the city gives up any interest it has in the property. So basically, the city is saying that it has no use and no future plans to use this particular parcel, so they're giving up the right to make it right away later on in the future.
Right. And the reason I asked that is that what was stated was, this is about opening it up, and I'll back up. Some people came forward thinking that the road was going to be open, and this is not talking about opening up Tallahassee. Right. Any other public comments?
Can I ask one more question? If this person gets this property, can he make a road open up there? No.
No.
He can't make a little alleyway to get his car back. We've had people try and do that on those vacant lots, drive their cars from Florida through Oleander, and the city had to come up and barricade the road so that wouldn't happen.
You can put a driveway in according to city code, but that's a driveway, not
Just,
a
oh,
through,
well,
but- yeah.
I'm just telling you what's
It's a
been
part
done in
of
the
the
past, and
car.
that's why there's barricades on the 3 roads. That can't happen. Okay, that's good for me. Thank you.
Just for the record, I requested that an updated traffic flow study be done, one more recently than 20 years ago for this particular project.
We're at a point, I guess there's no other staff comments, no public comments, so it's up to commission for deliberation. Any questions that anybody have of staff?
No comments, Mayor. Thank you.
Comments? Then Chair will entertain a motion.
Move approval.
Second.
Roll call?
Commissioner Sieber,
Yes.
Commissioner Banther?
Yes.
Commissioner Terrapini?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Larson?
Yes.
Mayor Archie?
Yes. The next item that we have is item number 19, Resolution 2015-16, Police Department staffing.
Resolution 2015-16, a resolution of the Board of Commissioners of the City of Tarpon Springs, Florida, authorizing changes in the police department organization, including an increase in authorized staffing and providing for an effective date hereof.
Thank you, Mayor. As outlined in my backup to the commission, as you know, we have a vacant code enforcement position. And right now, we have police officers doing it. They're working out of patrol, and they're actually doing a very good job. We got to brainstorming a little bit, and we thought it would probably be a good idea. We think it would work out really well if we assigned an officer full-time to do code enforcement. They know the laws. They're very versed at communicating with people. Other cities do have officers working this, working code enforcement. It has been successful elsewhere. So what really we're recommending is increasing the strength of the police department. I can't do it with our current staffing, pulling an officer from the road to do code enforcement. If we increase the staffing of the police department from 48 to 49, we can assign an officer to run code enforcement. Based on the budgetary dollars that were in the code budget this year, I had finance do an analysis, and their analysis pretty much that would be revenue neutral. But of course, if we have things coming up like we have to do stuff at the docks, we have to do stuff elsewhere, that can involve some additional dollars, but it would anyway, because usually we pull an officer to work with code enforcement to do those types of code operations. We want to do a test trial for the remainder of this fiscal year to see how it works out, and I want to report back to the city manager, how we think it's going. And if we're satisfied with that during the next budgetary process, FY 2016, we could basically continue funding the officer and not funding the civilian code officer position. That position, we are recommending that it remain in the code budget as unfunded and frozen. And with that, I'll be glad to answer any questions.
Any questions for Chief, Vice Mayor?
I don't necessarily have a question, and I am in support of the agenda item, but I am concerned about code enforcement as we move forward, and I wonder if we need to look at budgeting additional funds on top of what we are already budgeting. And I guess my question or my concern is more related to budget season, and as we move in that direction, when we look at budgeting, do we need to look at budgeting additional funds for code enforcement on top of what we're already looking at? I think what's going on right now is that most of code enforcement is being done through a process of
complaint-based.
Exactly, complaint-based. Thank you, complaint-based, and that's okay. But I think maybe we need to be more assertive and not only be complaint-based. So I'd like to look at code enforcement in a way of maybe looking at adding additional funds to that as we move forward. Thank you.
I absolutely respect what you're saying, and in consultation with the city manager as we move into FY 2016 budgeting process, perhaps that's something we can bring up. Obviously, the more people you put to the task, the better we can do. One person in there, there's a lot of demand, as everybody knows, in code enforcement, and one person in there, was able to keep up. But it's very hard to start really doing a lot of proactive stuff with one person. But we were kind of supplementing that, with the officers. But then again, it starts to stretch it kind of thin. So, perhaps that's a discussion we can have as we move into the budgeting process. But thank you.
Thank you.
Commissioner Bather?
Thank you. Yes, I am in support of this for sure, and I agree that it would help if we can move to more more of a proactive approach rather than just complaint calling. And I think we are headed in that direction. But I just want to make sure that we do some kind of something that lets the public know that this is the shift that we're doing and we're trying this out. I've already seen some complaints on Facebook that we have police moving garage sale signs. Isn't there more important things, etc.? They don't understand that they're fulfilling a role that's currently vacated. So just educate the public in that this is what we're doing, and though in my opinion I think it's a great idea to have it sworn. That way it's kind of dual purpose that we get that code enforcement role, and we can also utilize an extra sworn officer if needed. So I'm in support of this, but we just need to educate the public about what's going on.
That's a good point. I will also say I've been doing code enforcement for a long time, since 2000, and the more code officers you put out there, the more logistics we need in the office, the more complaints we're going to get. It's just the nature of what that job is. So, you know, if we eventually did go to that strategy, if you approve the additional funding and the city, you know, the city manager's on board with me and you approved it, we definitely have to have a vision and a strategy for moving forward with how we go about, you know, proactively doing code enforcement, you know, in the city. But again, with more people, it's more cases, it's more processing, it's more, you know, clerical work. So again, those are things that we can look at as we move forward. But I'll see what I can do on the educational aspect, like our Facebook page, our website,
it won't
other
take
avenues.
much.
And I don't know how much you do, and I assume that your office does some, as far as the utilization of technology, as far as being able to register those complaints out in the field, you know, laptops, those type of things there, to try to alleviate that demand. But like you say, there's no way to get around more complaints, more paperwork.
Right.
But, Commissioner Sibley?
I'm also in support, and I totally agree with Vice Mayor Larson, and feel that we may need to budget for more code enforcement. After all, codes are not meant to be broken, and we don't want to enable them to be broken. So I agree that, you know, with Commissioner Banther and Commissioner Larson.
Chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Any public comments on this item? Roll call.
Commissioner Sieber,
Yes.
Commissioner Banther?
Yes.
Commissioner Terrapini?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Larson?
Yes.
Mayor Archie?
Yes, stated before, items 20, 21, 2, and 3, 23 will be deferred. So we'll go to miscellaneous item, number 24, appointment to the Public Art Committee. I think this is kind of straightforward there. We got one appointment to fill an uninspired term of Lynn Pearson, who was moved to visual art position. Since we have one choice, it should be easy. So if we get a motion to move Diana Zoots Gage to fill that position.
I move for approval of the recommendation.
Second. Any public comments? Roll call.
Commissioner Sieber,
Yes.
Commissioner Banther?
Yes.
Commissioner Terrapini?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Larson?
Yes.
Mayor Archie?
Yes. The next item is appointment to Budget Advisory Committee. Let's see, must select option one. If option one, must first select option one, must also appoint alternate vacancy, or option two, which would leave alternate as is. And this background is currently a vacancy on the board due to the appointment of Chris Angelou to Firefighters Pension Board. And option one is move one of the two alternates, alternate one, Bradley Smither, alternate two, Dan Jenkins, up to this vacancy. Then select from applicants below who expressed interest on this board. Option leaves the alternate as it is. Board chooses option one. Please keep in mind you need to fill the vacancy for an alternate position. So, yes, ma'am.
I recommend that we move Dan Jenkin up and have Mr. DiDonato as an alternate.
Second.
If there's no other discussion on this, yes, sir.
I would recommend that we move Bradley Smither to the position and Frank DiDonato as the alternate.
Okay, well,
I just have a question, though.
yes.
As it relates, and, you know, I keep on wanting to get a better application process for these boards. Madam Clerk, do you know between Mr. Smither and Mr. Jenkins who was appointed first? Do you recall?
want to say they came in around the same time. It just one had a.
Is that
different
true, Mr.
expiration.
Jenkins? Same time?
One just had a different expiration date, filled a different position of an unexpired term than the other.
Okay. Well, this is, I mean, you know, it's always tough when you have two people, in my opinion, that I both think do well on this board. And so all I have to go off, if I favor them and they both come on at the same time, I have my thoughts, but I know we have two different motions. I'm not sure how you want to handle this,
Well,
Mr. Mayor.
what I look to do since the normal procedure that we have established is that all of us will select an individual, and then from that, whoever gets the most. But I was going to go ahead, if there was a motion, nobody had any other comments about it, then we'd go ahead with that. But the rules that we have says that for us filling those positions, everybody get to select one person, and then we go from there. So we have Dan and then Ms. Smithers, so I would say Mr. Jenkins and then Vice Mayor.
Mr. Jenkins.
I would say Mr. Smither. And again, all I used was the attendance because that's all the tiebreaker I had.
So we have, it's 3-2, in terms of Mr. Jenkins. So I guess the motion that you had, we can let that stand in the second. Any public comments? Roll call.
I'm sorry, who made the second motion?
Technically, there could only be one motion on the floor at a time, and that would have been the first motion made. And there should be a vote on that as to whether or not it fails. The second one was a
thought you seconded.
Vice Mayor seconded.
Didn't you second when she said that, or do we have a second?
Sorry, I misunderstood. I just thought y'all were each giving your.
No, we all gave it, but I was just saying. we can
What was
revert
the
back
first
to
motion? I'm probably happy to second it. What was the first
Was
motion?
that
That
Dan
we
Jenkins
select
be
Jenkins and
moved
then
up to
Frank.
a permanent position?
Yeah, I'd like to second that.
Thank you. I'm sorry.
So, roll call.
Commissioner Sieber,
Yes.
Commissioner Banther?
Yes.
Commissioner Terrapini?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Larson?
Yes.
Mayor Archie?
Yes, and that concludes our agenda for this evening. I don't see Holy Sheep down there, so.
I get to go twice then?
You can. Would you like to have any comments?
I just want to thank the commission for letting me sit in again for Mr. Daigneault. It's always a pleasure to see you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure. Chief, Acting City Manager.
No
Mayor.
comments, no comments, Mayor.
Madam Clerk,
No comment?
Commissioner Bamford.
Yes, I just, I hope we have a quorum at the next planning and zoning meeting so we can get that police station renamed or jointly named, I guess we're doing sometime in May. Chief, if it was approved this month, could we do something in May or June, or how far out would you need to have that done?
We're looking at June,
June, okay.
tentatively.
I just hope that's not, I hope that's not delayed further, that's all.
Yeah, we're trying. And we're working around a lot of other things with Washington and other trips.
I'm sure.
Vice Mayor.
No comments, thank you.
Commissioner Tarpon.
No, sir.
Commissioner Seaver.
I just want to wish everybody of the Greek Orthodox or Orthodox faith happy Easter this Sunday.
And I do the same, and we'll adjourn this meeting at 7:45. Hey, I had to look there again. I was thinking, my glasses do fail me.